Hi folks, I'm just making this video mostly, probably to complain mostly, about this FDT outdoor PTZ camera. Uh, you know, I guess most of my complaints really are about around the interface, not the hardware itself. The hardware seems pretty good, so this might not apply to everyone. Maybe folks that all they care about is like their camera interface or something, maybe this is acceptable to them. Now, I picked this thing up because it was cheap. I got it even cheaper than this. I think I got it for $90 on eBay or something like that. But I almost immediately regretted it. For one, I use my cameras for capturing motion capture mostly and dumping it to an FTP, my NASBox FTP server. So right off the bat, this thing requires a micro SD card in order to be able to record and dump to FTP, which seems ridiculous to me. Typically this is what I've been using, a Foscams. The Foscams, they have a ton of options through the web interface. You can do everything through the web interface. This thing does everything. Motion detection, email alerts, anything you want to do. It'll dump directly to FTP without any SD card in between nonsense. It works fine. And it dumps it in H.264 AVC format in an MKV container file. So it pretty much plays in just about anything right off the bat. Now this stupid thing, you got to, first off, to get if you want to use FTP, you got to disassemble the thing and insert an SD card. So right away it's a pain in the butt. All right. There's 8 screws total you got to take apart. 4 of them you can basically use a regular screwdriver to get the metal ring off. The next 4 you kind of need like one of those small jeweler's screwdrivers to get the tiny screws out. Once you've got everything apart, then it exposes this micro SD card slot on the unit. So I went through all the rigmarole, got the SD card in there. All right, set up the motion capture. Now this is another complaint, is you can't do everything through this web interface, which is what I want to be able to do. This thing, like what they have here is nice looking, it's decent, it's just missing so many features directly through the thing. The stinking phone's ringing. Hold on, let me cut this off. Okay, sorry about that. So, what was I talking about? FTP motion stuff. Yeah, so there's no motion settings at all in here in the web interface. If you want to set up the motion capture stuff, then you got to go to, let me see, there's an FTD app on the Google Store, FTD View, that's it, on the Google Store. I don't know if they have one. I'm assuming there's an iPhone one as well. I don't think there's a Windows phone. But you have to use their app here in order to actually turn on the motion capture. So already a major negative for me, because I don't want to have to pull out my phone to do this. I want everything through the web interface. So that's a big strike for me immediately. Now, okay, so I got out the phone, I installed the app, I set up the motion capture. First off, there's no options to change anything around the motion capture. It's ridiculous. You can't change anything. There's no settings for the motion capture other than like normal motion, low motion, high motion. That's it. You can't change the duration at which it captures during motion or anything like that. Okay, so I'm not happy. So what it does is it dumps it into, all the captures are in this .264, right? Which I'm expecting is just H.264 compression, a raw stream of it without a container on it. Now, I don't know what format they're dumping this in. I didn't try to look at the headers of the file or anything like that yet, but it doesn't play in anything. I've tried playing it in MPV, I've tried it in VLC, I've tried it in FF Play from FFmpeg. Nothing plays it. So I tried to wrap it in an MKV, thinking, okay, well, maybe the players just don't like it without the container on here. Again, same thing, just plays a bunch of nothing. So the only way I was able to play it back is via the phone app. If you play it from the phone app, then it plays fine. The image quality is fine. So Now another thing, they also have this desktop application thing, right? It comes with this IP cam desktop application, which again, I don't want to have to bother with. I want to do everything through the web page. So I load this thing up, and I haven't even really used this thing much. It looks like garbage to me. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's unfair. It's just I don't want the hassle of dealing with an installed application if I don't have to. So, but what I discovered is they include this little utility here called 264 file conversion. Basically, it's set up where it accepts only these 264 extension files that it creates. When you open it up, all it does basically is dump it out into finally a regular expected format, raw stream it seems. So if I put it in, select H.264, then I select transform, here we can see it dumps it out into this .h.264 instead of 264, and this actually does play. So the problem is I don't want to have to go through all the hassle. If you look at these FOSCAM videos, right, these dump right into an MKV. Plays in pretty much anything you want without any conversions or any troubles. You can just play. I can play them directly off my NAS box without any troubles or problems, and they play pretty much fine in just about any player. That's the experience I was looking for here, and this thing basically, in my opinion, fails miserably at it. So now, could these things be fixed at the software level? Yes, I think they could. So if they did that, it would be a much better product. Now, so I just put this out there just because anybody else that's interested in this camera and maybe they're experienced with the FOSCAMs or they're looking for a specific type of setup like I have, I would just say don't bother with this camera at this point. The support seems to be non-existent on the forums. There's no updates available for this camera, so I don't know if we'll see any updates. But as it sits right now, if you're looking for that kind of experience, this is a pass. Don't bother.